Hey everyone, it's the one and only magnificent bird, Beak, speaking to you today. And in today's video, I'm back at it finally with some rating with me. And as I'm rating, I'm also going to be going over my spoiler review of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 2, Episode 1, The Kindness of Foreigners. I know that saying is in French, but I actually did look up what the English meaning of that meant. And for this episode, I will say that it definitely makes sense as to why it's called the kindness of foreigners or kindness of strangers. Definitely. And, you know, of course, this is called Daryl Dixon, the Book of Carol, because Carol is also in the season. And yeah, episode 1 is definitely Carol heavy based, which, I mean, they gotta get her introduced into this series. So, at least for this one episode, she is gonna be, you know, it's heavily focused on Carol and how she's gonna go about finding Daryl, right? And be on that path. So, before we get started, I hope all of you are doing good and staying safe out there. And if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you want to share the video too, that would be great. If you do any of those 4 things, that would be very much appreciated by me. And I'm doing pretty good and I'm staying safe for the most part. And it sucks. This is what sucks so bad. Last night, I had planned on recording and uploading week 1 of the NFL of the 2024 season between the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs, and I had it recorded and every damn thing, but after I edited together and I went back to get a thumbnail, I'm glad I did, because I usually do go back and get a thumbnail from all those videos, and I noticed the video was just lagging real bad and the audio just wasn't syncing up like it normally would. And so the bad news is I'm gonna have to re-record that, unfortunately. But the good news is I think I figured out what the problem was, and it shouldn't happen again, hopefully. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. There's going to be a little bit of a delay on that NFL Madden video. It sucks, but what can I do? So I'll either try to work on it this weekend or early next week. Although I got shit to do for next week, so it's definitely coming if no more technical issues happen. So I just wanted to give a quick update on that. And that, like, the thing about that is that sort of thing has never happened before. So, but like I said, I think I figured out the problem, because I just wanted to test it to see if it was going to happen again. So I recorded some Mass Effect 2 footage that I already saved on my system, and it wasn't doing it. So yeah, I think I know what the problem is. What I tried to do is I tried to record with my recording app, because I was going to go over all the scores and all of that at the very end. See, I was recording the actual game on my camera phone, and I was using the recording app, and I guess those two just didn't mesh. So it messed up not only the video, but also the audio. So I guess either I'm just going to have to figure out another way about telling y'all the scores and all of that. So that that's the unfortunate part. I'm gonna have to re-record all that, but it should be fixed. But anyway, let me see. Let me do a couple more raids, and then I'll get into this spoiler review. Because, like I say, Daryl Dixon, he really isn't in the first episode all that much. Only because it's heavily focused on Carol for the most part, which, I don't mind that, because they gotta get her in the series somehow, you know what I mean? So, okay, so after this one, I'm gonna go ahead, alright, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get to this spoiler review. So, if you guys do not want to know absolutely anything about this first episode, I highly advise you go ahead and stop now, or you can mute the video and come back later and watch it, or if you just don't care, or you've already seen it, great, you can stick around. So, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Here is my spoiler review of The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol, Season 2, Episode 1, The Kindness of Foreigners. So, how I broke this down, this particular review, I don't know if I'm going to do this every episode. I broke it down by 3 characters. I got 3 characters specifically that are like a main point that I felt like was worth like writing down. So Daryl, obviously he's got a spot. Then Carol, she's got more to do in the episode. And then we have a new character named Ash, which we will get to. So Daryl, okay, so the episode starts with Daryl. He's training Laurent to kill walkers. That way he can defend himself, right? Which is something anybody in the zombie apocalypse should be able to do. But, how he's got the walkers set up, he's got them tied up, and he's got this contraction pulled to where, if they get too close, or Laurent, he doesn't do too bad. I believe he kills about 1 or 2 walkers before he starts to mess up. He just backs up and loses his footing. So Daryl, he pulls them all back and takes care of them. And even Daryl's like, you didn't do too bad till you decided to start backing up. And like Laurent is like, I can never be as good as you, Daryl. Even Daryl's like, look, kid, don't, give yourself some credit. You weren't doing bad until you decided to start backing up. And that, then that's when Lo Sang, that he's the leader of the nest, he sends one of his people to tell Laurent, like, hey, you gotta get ready for some class or whatever. And then that's when the guy also tells Daryl that, look, hey, Lo Sang needs to talk to you. And what Lo Sang wants to talk to Daryl about is Lo Sang, he wants Daryl to stop training Laurent to kill walkers, because Lo Sang believes that Daryl's technique at killing walkers is too violent. Because they're still on that bullshit that they believe that Laurent is the Messiah. He's going to be the one to stop the apocalypse. All that damn nonsense. And Laurent, look, okay, is he really smart? Could his smarts be annoying at times? Sure, it can. But at the end of the day, Laurent, he's just a normal kid that got lucky during childbirth. He got extremely lucky, and because of that, they think he's the Messiah. Oh, he's going to be the one to save everybody and all that. No. Lo Sang and everybody at the nest, they're in for a rude awakening. Laurent, at the end of the day, despite him being really smart, he's just a normal kid. who happens to be really smart, but he wants to be a normal kid. Even he said it himself, pretty much, I want to be like everybody else. Despite me being really smart, you know? But we'll see what happens with that in season 2 about that. They think he's the Messiah. He's going to stop all this and bring back humanity and all that. Yeah, I don't know. They're delusional. But I don't think Laurent, I mean, we'll see, but I don't think Laurent is as convinced anymore. Spending his time with Daryl has, like, it's changed Laurent's perspective somewhat. I'm very interested to see whether if Laurent is actually going to want to be held up like this high being like he was there at the beginning of season 1. It'll be interesting to see how that develops. He might not necessarily feel that way anymore like he used to. And then you got this woman, I don't know her name. They might have said her name, but she's a member of the Nest. And, you know, she's telling Lo saying, you know, are you not ready for this? Or are you sure, you know, talking about, I don't know exactly what they have planned, but it has something to do with Laurent. You know, they got some sort of ceremony or something that's coming, and like this woman, she's asking Lo saying, are you sure that Laurent's not ready, or are you sure that we're not ready? And Lo saying says, no, we're not ready. Whatever that means, I don't. Now, does the Nest have good intentions or bad intentions? I mean, it seems like they have good intentions, but they're really delusional. That's the problem. I don't know, we'll see, but... So, then Daryl, he talks to Isabel in one part. Like I said, Daryl's not in the episode long. It's mostly focused on Carol, for the most part. So Daryl talks to Isabel, and even Isabel, who the Nest believed she was a true nun, which we know she wasn't a true nun before the apocalypse. No, not her lifestyle, but when the apocalypse began and her sister died during childbirth, well, when her sister was giving birth to Laurent, that's when she became a nun, essentially, even though she had a lifestyle that most nuns probably wouldn't have. But anyway, Isabel is telling Daryl pretty much that, you know, I think you're training Laurent the best way you know how to, so... You know, because Daryl, he tells Isabel that Lo Sang wants me to stop training Laurent. And she even says, look, I think you're doing the best you can, what you think is best on how to prepare Laurent. Which, should Laurent really be focused on becoming this Messiah that he's not? Or should he just be focused on being a normal kid that knows how to kill walkers if need be? I think he just needs to focus on being a normal kid, and I think Daryl, in the situation given, I think Daryl is the best teacher that he can have, and not the people at the Nest who are delusional, who think he's the Messiah and all that, right? So, for now, we'll, also, before I go to Carol, Gannett, the villain from season 1, she has kidnapped 3 of their people, not of her own people, but of Lu Sang's people. That would include Falu from season 1, and, oh crap, what's that guy's name that Sylvie was falling for? I know his name starts with an E. Anyway, So I'll come back to that in a minute. We got two other characters to talk about. So let's talk about Carol, as she's got a lot more to do in the episode. So at the end of season 1, at the very literal end of season 1, Carol is on her way to Maine to look for Daryl. So she ends up getting Daryl's bike back from that guy who had taken it from that garage, or that place that he was last at before he was forced to go to France. So Carol is still on the path to try to find Daryl in Maine, and she ends up stopping at that very same place that Daryl was at. And, you know, she wants to know if, you know, because the tire or the engine with the bike is, like, messed up. And, you know, she's, like, wanting to know if, is the guy that owned the bike around here, maybe he could take a look at it. And, you know, that gets the conversation about going, you know. They're talking about the guy that had it, not Daryl Dixon, but the guy that took it from him. Then that opens up the conversation about Dixon, and they're all like, you know, oh, Dixon, he was an asshole. And Carol's like, asshole or not, do you think he's around to take a look at the bike? And then, like, they just, you know, Carol, she can't stand the Daryl Dixon slander no more, so they just keep talking shit about him. So that's when she grabs the Daryl's crossbow that this other guy had taken, and she's like, look, I want to know where Daryl's at, you know, pretty much. And that's when they try to advance her. And no, you know what, she actually shoots one of the guys in the foot with the crossbow. Then that's when the one guy that had the crossbow tries to advance, and she swings that crossbow around and breaks his fucking nose. They're trying to fuck with Carol, and they found out, buddy. But in the process, one of them grabbed the crossbow and shot one of the tires on the bike. So yeah, the bike is a no-go at that point. So they end up telling her what happened and where Daryl went after she done broke the one guy's nose, shot the one guy in the foot with the arrow. Yeah, hey, they had no idea until she got there what they were dealing with, buddy. You know, Carol tried to be friendly at first, but they wanted to be hostile, and they wanted to keep talking shit about Daryl, so she had to bring out her inner BICTH, you know what I mean? And she wants to be nice, but she can bring out her mean, you know, her dangerous side if she has to, absolutely. So they tell her that, you know, that scientist, along with some other people that wanted American walkers, took him and some other people on a boat to France. And she's like, you're fucking with me, you don't want to fuck with me. And they're like, no, we're not playing with you, we are dead serious. And like, she couldn't believe, like, what, France? So after she finds that information out, she takes one of their cars and just goes on, and they tell her that there's like a shipyard about a couple of miles up north where they took off. And they tell her, you know, you can go see for yourself. So that's when she takes a car and goes that way up north. She goes to the shipyard, but of course there's no signs of any boats except wrecked boats, like one or two wrecked boats. So she just keeps on going and going, and she finds these like cassette tapes, and she's trying to listen to a song that, you know, she's trying to find some kind of song that would be catchy, but she keeps taking them out, and she doesn't like the selections. And that's when there's a plane, not like a big plane, but like a, you know, a smaller plane enough for like one or two people to fit in. A little small plane flies over, because like that's not something that you would see normally see in the apocalypse. So okay, what's going on there, right? We'll find out. Well, Carol, she gets distracted by the plane and she ends up wrecking the car. She hits this sign at this drive-in and it totally busts the radiator, I believe. So she's got to get out and walk, and she goes through the drive-in, and she eventually ends up on this property that has traps for walkers, wildlife, because we see a bunny, but the poor bunny, he ends up tripping one of the traps and it gets him. So there you go. Then that's when Carol, she sees this like ricocheted trap that was released, and she, it's already been sprung thanks to the rabbit. So she ends up going behind the damn trap and acting like she got stuck, and she's yelling, "Help, help, I'm stuck," right? Just to get someone's attention, because clearly somebody's around, because there's been traps that have been laid out. And then that's when this guy with this gun and a flashlight, he comes around. It's at nighttime when this happens. And when he comes around, he's like, "Quiet, you'll alert them," talking about the walkers. And like she's like, she ends up, during the wreck, she ends up hitting her head, and she's like, "Look, I don't want any trouble. I got into an accident and I hit my head, and I just need some help. I need some first aid." And the guy has no reason to trust her, because after all, he's a stranger to her and she's a stranger to him. They're both complete strangers to one another. And, he says, "All right, I'll take you to my place," or whatever. So this is when we get introduced to that stranger. His name is Ash. So the majority of the episode from this point forward is going to be mostly about Carol and getting to know Ash, because Daryl, we'll come back to Daryl. He'll show back up one more time. But okay, so she ventures out to look for help. Gotcha. She gets help from a stranger named Ash. So we're gonna go to Ash. So Carol and Ash, they go to his place, and it's fortified. It has these, it's mostly running off of generator. So he does have electricity, but his generator does give him problems from time to time, and it does cut off, which will come back will come back in the episode. So his place is fortified for the most part. He's got electricity despite his generator giving him issues, but he just has to hit a button or whatever whenever it shuts off. But he was the one that was flying that plane earlier, and there's a reason for it, which we will find out. So she takes care of her wound, and they introduce each other. And he tells her, "Look, you're a complete stranger." I mean, he doesn't say that, but he's like, "Look, okay, since it's nighttime already, you can go ahead and sleep here. I have a room in the barn for you," because he has a house and a barn, and he also has a greenhouse, which will come back later. Which, it's morning, and he wakes her up and gives her some, I don't know, something in a cup for breakfast, and then that's when not Ash, but that's when Carol asks if, "Look, I wrecked my car yesterday, and could you maybe help me fix it up? I think I busted the radiator." And he says, "All right, well, I will this evening, because after I go up flying, I'll look for car parts. So yeah, he flies that plane every day, and he ends up goes out on his flying trip that he does every day, because he says that he flies the plane every day. That's when Carol, while he's gone, that's when Carol gets nosy about what's in the greenhouse, because he's seen going in there at least 2 times before this. And that's when she decides to get nosy. But this is when the power to the place goes off because of the generator. But she's more so focused on getting in that greenhouse and seeing what's in there. And it ain't nothing sinister, but she's just that damn nosy. But anyway, and she knows that the power and shit cuts off, but she's looking at the generator or the greenhouse. She decides to focus on the greenhouse because why not? But that was her biggest mistake, because that's when walkers are able to get into the property, and she ends up going all the way through the greenhouse, and for the most part it looks like a normal greenhouse, nothing sinister, except at the very back there actually is a memorial to his son that had died when I think his son was about 7 or 8 years old. So he has a memorial to his son that died. So once nosy ass Carol sees that there's nothing sinister, she decides to go back, but too late. That's when walkers are hitting her way. She really should have focused on shutting that power back on, because it was just like 2 buttons. 1 button for the power on, 1 button for the power off. But damn, Carol, you was just so nosy on what's in that damn greenhouse. But she can't get out because there's only 1 way in, 1 way out. The walkers have that 1 way blocked, of course. But she ends up pulling a couple of shelves toward her to protect herself, and she ends up busting the ceiling of the glass house to get out. That's when Ash gets back, and he is like visibly wondering what the hell is going on, and he's like, "What did you do?" You know, yelling like, cause like, so they take care of the walkers, and you know, that's when it's revealed that after Carol gets rid of all the walkers, Ash is at the memorial just staring, and that's when it was revealed that his son, this is why he was flying plane, that's why he flies a plane every day, because his late son was obsessed with planes, and he flies one every day in order to honor his son. So nothing bad going on there. But I mean, you gotta think of it of Carol's situation, because like normally when people are hiding shit, it's usually not a good thing to have some sort of dark, deep secret. But in this case, you know, Carol even feels bad for breaking into the greenhouse after knowing it wasn't anything sinister going on. She even feels bad, but she doesn't, you know, she says that I'm sorry, you know, I do, she should have just never broke in. It is what it is, but like Ash doesn't seem to be like, not too mad at her, but like, that's when it's revealed that, you know, when she, you know, that's when it's revealed that, this is when she gets to lying, right? She lies about, she says that I need to go to France because, you know, my ex-husband Ed took our daughter Sophia to his aunt's in France. Or his aunt, however you want to say it, whatever. So she's lying. We all know that didn't happen. Ed died from a walker in season 1, I'm pretty sure. And we know Sophia died in season 2, but man, him being lied to and he doesn't even know it, right? When she's really looking for Daryl, but she's like, oh, my ex-husband Ed took our daughter Sophia to visit his aunt in France, and I just want to, I want to go to France and try to find her. And also, I forgot to mention, when Ash is showing Carol the barn for the very first time, that's when she gets a flashback to, back in season 2, when they end up finding Sophia coming out of the barn. She has a flashback to that, and that's when, like, Ash is, like, touching her arm, asking her, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, like, acting like it not bothering her, just the fact that she's seeing a barn, that's how, when Sophia came out of the barn, she's getting a flashback from season 2 when they all found out that she died, obviously. So, that's when it's at nighttime again, and they're having dinner, and, that's when Ash finds out, okay, she's lying about the fact that she doesn't need her car fixed. He semi-figures out that she's lying, not about the reason that she wants to go to France. He's like, you never needed your car fixed. You want me to fly you to France to look for your daughter. And that's kind of what gets him mad. That's what gets him mad at her. But imagine what's going to happen if this character makes it all the way through and he finds out that that Carol doesn't even have a daughter that's alive anymore. Oh my God. You're going to have to feel bad for him, because he's like, he goes all the way to a damn different country based off a lie. Like, oh my God. If I was him, I'd feel some type of way about it too, right? So he's like, you just want me to pack up and to help you find your daughter. You just want me to pack up everything and help somebody I don't even know find their child. And, Carol is like, if your son was out there, wouldn't you want to do everything you could to do? Wouldn't you want to do everything you could do to find him? And he's like, well, my son isn't out there. He's dead. So, Carol, like, come on. Like, oh my gosh. You are actually just, oh my God. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that, but he tells her, look, you can spend the night again, but first thing in the morning, you need to leave. You done pissed me off. So, it's the next morning, and she's getting ready to leave, too. She says, like, oh, okay, I'll leave, no problem. She ends up leaving, but Ash, he ends up coming back around to find her. I don't know how far she got. She must have not got too far off the property, but he ends up having to drive and says, like, look, hop in. Look, he says pretty much, I've thought about it, and you know what, I'll help you find your daughter. Let's go. So they end up going back to the property, and they're getting everything ready to go up into the plane, to fly the plane out of there. And of course, it's a big, massive thunderstorm at night, and it's a pretty cool visual shot, because you got the walkers coming through the trees, because you got to remember that damn generator went out again and knocked the power out. So, and you got the walkers coming in, and you got the lightning storm, the thunder and lightning in the background, and then you got the walkers coming in through the trees. It's a pretty cool visual during this whole part as they're trying to get shit ready. And he also has a shed of ethanol. which unfortunately ends up going, man, he had a hell of a gold mine in that shed that ends up going up, of course. But they end up, as Carol's trying to get on the plane, there is a walker that ends up getting to her, but it doesn't bite her or nothing like that. So she ends up, pushing the walker back, and you gotta remember they're at the plane, so the walker ends up backing up into the blades of the fan, and it ends up cutting that walker up to pieces, damn. So they end up getting the hell up out of there, and Ash's home is no more because the walkers are in. The power went out, plus the shed went up in flames. So both Ash and Carol are flying. They're up in the air, and here's the thing. Carol has never been flying, so it's damn, she's got to get over her fear of heights immediately in the situation, and she does. So, there you go. So, Carol and Ash are headed off to France. So I imagine they'll probably get there probably in episode 2. So now let's go back to Daryl. So remember earlier when it was revealed that Lo Sang, some of his people were captured by Jeanette. I'm just going to call her Jeanette. Fuck it. It's spelled G-E-N something, whatever. I'm just going to call her Jeanette. It is what it is. Anyway, Jeanette and her forces have captured Falou, one other person, and then that guy, I think his name is Emil, that Sylvie was falling for. Yeah, I think it's those 3 that have been captured by Jeanette. And the reason that they've captured them 3 is they are hoping to find out where Daryl Dixon is, right? So Lo Sang is sending a reconnaissance team to go rescue them. But Daryl, he ends up coming along with them. And yeah, so they end up laying a trap for 3. They got 3 cars, or 3 vehicles, I should say, coming through. They got one with Jeanette, they got one with the prisoners, and then they got another one. They're hoping to blow up one of them, but they have this explosive trap set. When they run over it, it's supposed to blow up, but when the convoy is coming through, the explosive, it doesn't explode. So is someone at the nest working with Jeanette? Or is it just a delayed explosion? Well, after the explosion doesn't go off, that's when Daryl goes running in head first. He's got this pistol. He's firing at the vehicle that Jeanette is in. He kills the driver. It completely wrecks that vehicle, and then that's when Daryl and all of the other men that are sent to rescue those 3, that's when they take care of Jeanette's men, and that's when they rescue the prisoners. And after Falou, Emil, and the other guy are rescued, that's when Jeanette comes out of the car, and her ears and her nose is all bleeding, and obviously she's dazed from the car flipping over. And she says something along the lines of, Dixon, I knew it would be you. Of course they would send a demon to do an angel's work, or something like that. And she's got her hands up, and he's getting ready to blow that bitch away with this rifle, and he's getting ready to do it. But of course, the one thing that ends up saving Jeanette's life is that explosion. That delayed explosion causes him to drop the gun, and he doesn't really drop the gun, but it orients him to the point where, what the hell, right? And then he goes back to try to kill her, but of course she runs away. So I would have been like, damn, what a way for the episode, for the season to begin if they would have killed the main villain from season 1. But, of course, Jeanette lucked out because of that delayed explosion, and I'm surprised she didn't get the hell out of there before, which maybe she was hoping to die. I don't know, but she clearly wasn't trying to run away. She had her hands up, and yeah, Daryl was about to blast her away, and he definitely would have if it wasn't for that delayed explosion. So that's how the episode ends. Now, do I think this is a bad episode? No, it's not a bad episode necessarily, but you gotta look at it from this perspective. It is a Carol heavy focused episode, which, you know, it makes sense because they gotta get Carol into the season somehow, and Daryl, in his time in France, it's already been established, so I would imagine going forward, both Carol and Daryl are going to be shown as equally as possible going forward. I would imagine. I don't know that for sure, but, you know, I get the point of them having to focus on Carol a little bit more because she's new to this spinoff, you know what I mean? But going forward, I can see them being split equally as far as screen time, or mostly equal anyway. So, yeah, I think season 2, I think, is off to a pretty good start. I'm definitely I'm very much looking forward to it, at least for the next 5 weeks. So we'll see. I mean, because I didn't watch the trailer for season 2, so we'll see what happens here. Okay, that was just somebody driving by. Alright. Sorry about that, but yeah, so I think season 2, at least the first episode, did a pretty good job at setting the tone for the rest of the season, so I expect a lot more action-packed stuff to happen in the other episodes, right? So, which premiere episode did I prefer? Season 1 or Season 2's premiere episode? I like both of them, but if I'm being completely honest, I think I preferred Season's 1 episode premiere a little bit more. Yeah, it was mostly focused on Daryl, but there was a lot more action happening with Stefan and his people raiding the what's that damn place where Isabel and Laurent were. I can't remember the name of the place. I should remember this, but it was in season 1. It only lasted for the episode, but I think ultimately the season 1, episode 1 premiere was just a little bit better because despite it being a season premiere, there was a lot more action that was going on. The season 2, episode 1 premiere wasn't bad, but like the season 1, episode 1 premiere was just a little bit better, but the season 2, episode 1 premiere ain't bad at all. It's just like, if you're not like a super fan of Carol, you might not care as much. That's all I'm saying. I didn't mind it. I actually still enjoyed it. But that's like something to consider. If you're not a big fan of Carol, yeah, you might not. I'm not saying you're going to hate the episode. No, it's a pretty good episode, but you might not enjoy it as much. So that's all I'm saying, right? So I think that's all I got as regarding episode 1 of season 2. I believe so. So we'll do a couple more raids, and I wanna go ahead and edit this and, you know, get this out by hopefully today, because it is Friday right now. Hopefully I can get this out by Friday evening, I hope. But depending on, I should be able to get it out by Friday evening, hopefully. Should I go ahead and do another raid? Another refill? I think I might. Let me see, we got... Okay, so we would have... Yeah, I'll go ahead and do another 6, and then I'll let you guys go. Like I said, it sucks. I'm going to have to redo that NFL video. Oh, God, that sucks. That fucking sucks. I hate that shit. I got to redo it. But I already know which footage I want to use, so that's kind of a positive. So, but if it wasn't for that, I would have already had it uploaded. But I'm just not trying to edit two different recording things at once, you know, into one video. Just ain't gonna, it's not gonna fly. No, I learned that the hard way. I don't think that's gonna fly, so the video will be delayed, but I'm not, it's coming, but it's just gonna be delayed. Oh man, why did I even attack this damn team? And speaking of next week, there is another character review. Well, I think there's gonna be 2 character reviews coming out, I'm pretty sure. I know one character is in the game right now, and I haven't looked at his kit fully, but, like, okay, it's going to be Prisoner Herschel, right? I'm disappointed, and I'll tell you why I'm disappointed. Let's just skip this shit. I'll tell you why exactly I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointed because the character might not, it's not because he's might be bad or nothing like that. I haven't looked at his kit. It's the fact that he's another prisoner character. Missed opportunity to have a different character and dress them up as, like, why not dress up a character like Dracula? Why not have a Halloween character? Like, come on. I don't think there are any characters dressed up like Dracula in the game. Like, instead, you're gonna pick another prisoner? Are you serious? Like, that's the aspect of this I'm disappointed by. I mean, who knows? He might end up being a pretty decent tune. Although, they did come out with another yellow tune. They have an obsession with releasing a bunch of fast tunes for free-to-play. Like, hello, you have strong, alert, and tough. You know that, right, Scopely? And I'll also be going over that Halloween event, but I'm going to do that next week. You know, I just think I could do it now or after this video, but I'm not. I'll save it for early next week. So expect that character review sometime next week, and then I'll be going over the Halloween event in the same video. So that'll be happening next week. Because I mean, I have plenty of time. I don't make no money off of this, so I'm not gonna hurry out. I'm not gonna hurry it out. You know what I mean? I'm gonna wait a couple of days and then I'll get to it. Yeah, it sucks that they didn't, like, pick another character, or if they still wanted to use Herschel, they could have dressed him up like Dracula. I don't know, man. Or they could have just dressed him up as a vampire. We don't have a vampire character yet in the game. Not like not a literal vampire, but, you know, someone dressing up as a vampire. They could have done that. Could they still do that with a promo tune? I don't know. But I don't know. You couldn't have at least dressed him up as a jailbird. Not like your standard orange jumpsuit, but, like, you know, you have the black and white. You could have at least, like, done something like that where he's dressed up as a jailbird instead of him wearing the standard orange jumpsuit. Why not go the black and white route? I don't know. I mean, I'm just like trying to give them actual creative ideas over there. To spruce it up, if you want to have him as a prisoner, instead of the standard orange jumpsuit, I don't know, you could have mixed it up, gave him the black and white jailbird look. I don't know. Or you could have had him dress up as Dracula or something. Not very creative this Halloween, are we, Scopely? Not very creative whatsoever. Damn, why is this bitch so hard to take out? What the hell? Oh my god. Wow, very original. Nah, come on, I know I can beat this team. I know I can beat this damn team. I just gotta believe, right? Hopefully. Why couldn't y'all do that the damn first time? Are you serious? I told you I could beat the team. I don't know what happened the first time. So there we go. I rest my case. Okay. Alright, so I think that is going to do it for this one. I think that's pretty much going to do it for this one. I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support and for stopping by. And if you have any thoughts on the start of Daryl Dixon, the Book of Carol Season 2, feel free to let me know down below. I want to thank y'all again for being super awesome and for all of the support that you guys continue to give me. And, if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button and all that good stuff down below. And I'm gonna fly away back to my nest. Until next time, I am Beak, and I'm gonna fly away back to my nest. Until next time, bye guys.